There you go. I just want to have a discussion about Square. Square is the company that allows you to accept cards on your phone and take payments. I've had an incident with them just recently. Over the last 4 months, it's taken to resolve it. What's happened is I had a customer contact me by text message. It then went to email. They claimed to be a deaf customer who was in hospital. They needed me to meet with a removalist at their property and carpet clean the carpets and clean the furniture for their release from hospital. I agreed to do the job, and then I gave them a quote and it was accepted. The customer then asked me if I could also receive payment for the removalist and pay the removalist when I arrived there and they unload the furniture. I said, yeah, sure, no worries. About a week later, the customer then requested that I transfer the money for the removalist earlier. So I've had the money in my account for about 4 days by this time. And I said, yeah, that's fine, no worries at all. It was coming from a Westpac card going into a Westpac account. So the Westpac card, they gave me all the details on the card, including your 3-digit CD number. So they obviously had the card in their hand, and I processed the payment. And I retained the payment that I was paid to do the work that I was to do. And following that, the next day after transferring the money, so I've had it in my account 4 days. The next day after transferring that money, Square contacted me and said, a member of Square contacted me and said, oh, that card's been flagged. I said, okay. And he goes, you need to reimburse the total amount. And I said, well, the total amount's not there anymore. I can reverse what I've got. But if it's been a fraud claim, then it needs to go through the police and the bank. So the guy on the phone then told me that they're going to take the withdrawal out of my bank. And I said, no. And then the sum they gave me was 500 more than what I'd actually received. And I asked him, I said, why am I paying 500 more? And he goes, well, you've got to pay the transaction fee. I said, so you're going to profit from a fraud claim? I said, I think that's illegal, isn't it? And he goes, I don't care. So I said, well, I'm going to take all the money out of that account and I'm going to file a financial ombudsman claim against Square, which is what I did that very day. I went to Westpac Bank. They said, yep, I need to contact them by phone. So I went back and contacted them by phone. They froze the account. They recovered half of the money plus the money that I had. So Square then proceeded to try and take $3,800 out of my bank. Luckily though, I'd already removed the money, so there wasn't any money for them to take. I informed them by email again that I've filed a financial ombudsman complaint and I'll only follow directions of the ombudsman from here on in. And if you need to contact me via email. A fair bit of time went by, over a month and maybe more, and I had an email from Square saying that I needed to load up the Square app so that there could be messages. And I emailed back saying, I'm not opening your app, I'm not adding your app, I'm not dealing with your business. What you are is full of shit. I said, I'm not touching yours. I said, what you're doing is criminal, so I'm never going to use you again. So after that, the ombudsman contacted me and said that they've received it, and I sent them updates saying, well, they've tried to take out $3,800 out of my bank. And then I informed Square again that this is in the hands of the financial ombudsman and they're not to make any more attempts at taking money. Sure enough, they tried again. About 2 weeks later, they tried again to take $3,800 out of my bank. And I challenged them again. And I said, this is in the hands of the financial ombudsman. If you want to talk to me, you talk to me via email and you deal with the financial ombudsman. And then after that, I didn't hear from them for a long while. And then I had an email updating me on the progress of the complaint, because I also complained to Square as well. And the update was that the other party's bank was looking into it. And I said, well, contact the Ombudsman and let him know. So I went quiet for a long time, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, I get a phone call from the Financial Ombudsman. And he asked me to explain the situation, which I did, and how they were profiting from this scam. I said to him, I've got half the money recovered, but the other half, I don't know what's happened to that. You need to talk to the bank or to Queensland Police. So the Ombudsman got back onto Square, and basically Square then finally, after 4 months, agreed to accept the half payment I've got and wipe the account. So the Ombudsman also asked, did I send all the bank details, all the emails, all the messages that I had in relation to this to Square? And I said, yes, I've sent them everything. They've got the name of the person who took the money, they've got the name of the bank account, they've got the bank, they've got everything. And I said, there's nothing they haven't got. So in my experience using Square, and this is only my experience, I'm sure there's others out there like me, I wouldn't touch that company with a bar of soap. No way in the world. I will never use Square again. If you want to do any sort of card transactions or anything like that, you can, if you're a sole trader, there is a link on Westpac Bank that you can actually get a BPay number sorted out. So I'm going to go down that road and get a BPay sorted out, but in my view, I wouldn't touch Square. The service I got was poor. They do not listen to what you tell them. They don't care absolutely at all about you as a person, and that you've been a victim of someone doing a scam. And it was clearly told to me by the guy on the phone that if you have a customer who pays you, that they can ask for that money back at any time for any reason. So you've then got to prove that it was a legit transfer. So even if you do work for someone, you've got to prove you did the work. You've got to then go backtracking and try and figure out a way to prove what you've done to validate your claim. So that's just my advice. Anyone's up to their own grabs. If you want to use Square, go ahead and use it, but I'll never use that company again. I won't touch them. And anyone who ever asks me about them, it'll be a negative review. There will be nothing positive about it, because you're not protected. All they seem to want to do is protect themselves, and they've got insurances for this kind of stuff, but they're not interested in using it. They'd rather just take your money and then have you try and fight to get it back. So had they got that money out of my bank account the first time, I wouldn't have heard from Square again. You know, it's only the fact that they didn't get the money that I heard from them. But if they had got that money out of my bank, I would never have heard from Square again. So you need to be careful about this, and the process to go through when you're challenging these sorts of companies is file your complaint to the Financial Ombudsman straight away and put in as much detail in it as you can. Names, dates, times, everything. The Ombudsman's pretty fair, so they're not looking at profiting or anything. They're just looking at the overall facts, and at the end of the day they'll make their decision, and you just follow the Ombudsman's decision because he's open and honest about what they're doing. You know, they check the facts and they follow through. So good on to the Ombudsman. They're a good mob to have here in Australia. They're a good place to go to, whether it be the Financial Ombudsman or the State Ombudsman or the Federal Ombudsman. They're all good services to use. But if ever you're stuck financially and you're not sure what your rights are, get in contact with the State Ombudsman, Financial Ombudsman, or whichever one's relevant to your case, because they'll certainly give you the guidance and assistance that you require. The resolution of this claim was that I returned the money that I had recovered, and they've closed the account. So we're square. There's nothing owing, and there's no more to be done. All right, thanks for hearing, and like and share this if you can, because I'm sure someone else will find this information useful. But these companies are beatable. You can do it. I've been doing this for a long time. I don't take shit from companies. If I've got a problem with them, I challenge them. It's the only way to stand up for yourself, and you've got to do it. Have a nice night, and we'll chat again.